Alrighty legends, welcome to this little walk around video, bit of a service. First impressions, I've put 3 hours on this bike, my 2025 Heritage Edition TE300, the Husqvarna. So yeah, let's just go back a little bit. I haven't had a two-stroke since I was 15, 16 years old. I'm now 34, so it's been a long time. Things have changed dramatically on the two-stroke front. This thing, the linear power is fantastic. Click of a button, you're started. This thing is impossible to stall. I come from a bit of a Husqvarna background. I've had the FE350, I've had the FX350, and absolutely love those bikes. But I came across an XR600 that I couldn't really say no. I built that from the ground up. So I've got the big four-stroke. I rode my mate's two-stroke, and I was like, wow, this thing's unreal. He had the KTM 300. And you know what? I've got a scratched itch. I'm going to scratch it. And I bought this, the Heritage model. In my opinion, I think this is the only Heritage Edition Husky that actually looks decent. I never really fancied any of the other ones. This one actually looks really tasty. Love it to bits. I like it more than the non-Heritage. So yeah, went with this. Cost me about $17,000 brand new on the road. Came with all the indicators and all the bits and pieces as well. But no, for me, I just chucked on the number plate and did a bit of work to it. Chucked on all this fruit. I did the expansion cover. Did the 12-litre fuel tank. Did pegs, levers, the seat. I redid the seat cover. Did this slip-on pipe. It's a lot shorter. The standard came out of about here, so having that really helps as well. Sounds a bit nicer as well. Did a bit of bling here and there as well. But I have done 3 hours. I'm just going to do a gearbox oil swap. I am used to four strokes, so there's a lot less to do now. Just the gearbox, drop that. There's no screens to do yet, not till later on in time. So yeah, simple service. Change the air filter, check bolts here and there. When I did get this bike before I rode it, I greased everything because when they come to Australia, they don't have any grease in any of the linkages. So I did all the suspension linkage, front and rear wheel bearings, steering stem, did all that. Took ages, a bit frustrating because you buy something brand new, you expect it to be done. But I had a chat with a guy at Husky and he's like, we just can't afford to put any labor on these bikes. We don't make enough money. So fair enough, I suppose. So I went through, did all that, did the right thing. But yeah, this bike's been fantastic from the get-go. It has 2 map modes here. Can I tell the difference? No. Reason being is because for its first 3 hours I was trying to be nice to it. I did open it up here and there, but no, I was trying to be good for the first 3 hours. But yeah, I'm keen to give them a wrap after this first service. But yeah, just doing log hops and hill climbs. I find with the four strokes, especially like the 350 even, like you'd get flame outs here and there. Just when the piston's at the wrong place and you might be in the wrong time and boom, it'll just cough out. Where this thing, it'll cough out and then you'll be like, oh crap, I didn't save it in time. You rip the clutch in and then ping, it'll start up again. And you're just like, wow, you don't get that on the four strokes. If you pick it at the wrong time, it'll cut off. Where this will just like cut off, ping again, and just keep going. It just surprises me every time. But yeah, it's great to be out in the bush on something so nimble, so light. I didn't really notice it too much with the extra weight in the front with this 12-litre tank. I mean, it's only 3 litres at the end of the day larger, but it does help. There is a few downsides to this bike. Just cons that I've noticed. The first and major being the fuel tank. The fuel pickup is around here, just above the frame, and the four strokes, they all have the pickup at the bottom of the tank, which is where you'd expect it. The fuel pickup's around here. So when I went for a ride, I'm coming home on a road. Obviously, you don't get to bounce around. The fuel doesn't get to slosh. It's not picking up to these spots. So if you can't do a wheelie and get that fuel back up, you're going to cough out, which it did on me. I tip it over and I try and get fuel in there and it's just not enough. So like have to really play around to get that fuel up there. I suppose that's fine if you're on a track, which is what these bikes are really built for. But for me, I ride out from home to the track and I come back and there's maybe 5Ks worth of road, and that's when I'm running out of juice. So it is a bit inconvenient. It's probably the biggest problem I found with this bike over the last 3 hours. Second being the fuel efficiency. I knew coming back to two-stroke is going to be a little bit more thirsty, but it is definitely more noticeable than the FE 350s I've had in the past. I've run the 12-litre tanks on them for a while. I get at least easily 2 hours out of those. I mean, I'm still pushing 110 Ks out of this extra large tank as well. So they are thirsty. I've heard they're more thirsty than the previous TPI models, where this is the TBI, throttle body injection. I guess it's a sacrifice you make for that nice linear power. Right from the bottom, this thing just has its torque and it just chuffs out of everything. And when you want it to really ping, it does. It just goes. And yeah, I've thoroughly enjoyed this bike. I'm going to drop the oil, going to get the air filter changed. I'm going to go through nuts and bolts, just check everything and check all the little bits and nitty gritty. Yeah, guys, enjoy this video. Cheers. So just before I get rid of this oil, I want to talk about a few things that this bike has that the previous Huskies didn't have that I owned. So this year model has the Brembo brakes and the Brembo clutch. The Brembo brakes are unbelievably better. Like, it is next level compared to the old bikes. They were a lot more spongy, and I always thought, geez, these things need to bleed up, and you would check and you'd bleed it and you'd be all good. You're like, wow, this is all they've got. But these are just like next level. They stop so good. They're very touchy. Something you got to get used to, especially riding the old XR over there, spongy girl over there, versus the Husky. But yeah, worlds apart kind of bikes. But yeah, those Brembo brakes are fantastic. Absolutely love them. I didn't notice the Brembo clutch so much, but yeah, definitely rate the brakes. So yeah, since owning it as well, I've done a bit of guard work. I've got this rear guard. I've got the extended bash plate underneath, and I've done the front guard as well. Got the pipe on the back here, looking good. Seat cover, grippy seat cover. It's also a Husqvarna brand, which is handy. Keeps it all fitting. So Miss Rhodey isn't a fan of the old two-stroke smell. I certainly am, though. Absolutely nostalgic. So these models don't come out with a thermofan, so I've done this as a little goodie afterwards. I've set it to about 70 degrees. That kicks on when it hits that temperature. I've also done this aftermarket power valve cover. Get a bit more power out of it as well. Better flow. But yeah, fan's a good handy thing to have, especially if you're hitting those tight, hot trails in the summer's day. Yeah, fantastic looking bike. So what I was doing this morning, I was downloading my free service manual that came with this bike, and I thought, oh yeah, gearbox oil, 15W50, and I looked at the bottle that the guy gave me from the shop with the bike. He said, yeah, here's some two-stroke oil and here's some gearbox oil for your first service, whatnot. And I'm like, 1030, that's a bit thin. And I'm just gonna put this in the camera. That's its first bit of residue from its first service. No dangerous chunks on there. There's a little bit of metal, as you would expect for its first service. First gearbox oil service, I should say, not engine oil, but yeah. Anyway, look at the bottle, 10W30. I'm like, that's thin. I'll give him a call, see what he says. He says, yeah, 10W30 will be okay for where I live. Live down in Denmark. It's cold. We're coming into winter. I've just spilt a bunch of oil, and I'm like, nah, I probably want to just keep it to the spec. So I've got this here, which is the engine slash gearbox oil I used to use for my FE 350. I asked him, what about that oil? He said, yeah, that'll be good too. So yeah, I'm going to chuck that in. I'm going to ditch this oil at 10 hours anyway. So in that meantime, I'm going to return that bottle that he gave me, get the correct stuff. But yeah, it's a bit hard for me because I live so far from everything. So it's going to chuck that oil in. I know it's going to be good. I used to run it in my FEs, my FX. It's good oil. And yeah, it's just gearbox oil with this anyway. So we're all good. So this is the oil that I bought with the bike. Motorex 10W30 should be 1550. So yeah, I do try and use the right thing. But in this case, I'm just going to run the old stuff I used to run in the FE. 7 hours on it, I'll swap it out, put the proper stuff in. So we've got a new crush washer on there. Chuck that back in its hole. All the way to 20 Newton meters. The old click, click, click. Yep. Just the old torque wrench. I don't think it's that crucial, to be honest. I've done engine changes, engine swaps, engine conversions, many jobs in my time, and I know the feel of a crush washer, I'll tell you that much. Yeah, just mop up any residue around the bottom there, and we're going to get our new oil in. Very simple service on this. Made it look hard with that oil spill though. Might just let it dribble out for a moment so we're not over full. A little crush washer back on there. So losing a little bit of fluid out there. I'm just going to let that run dry, and then I know I'm at a good level. A little bit of wastage, but in all honesty, I don't have a lot of use for this oil anymore because, like I said, I want to use the right stuff next time. I mean, I'm using the right stuff, but I'm not using the best stuff, and I like using the best stuff. I do that with all my vehicles, and I feel bad for not doing it this time, but the closest store for me is a long way away, and I want to ride my bike. And I checked with the shop, Perth Moto Hub, and he said, no man, you are all good. Use that stuff, and you can also use the 10W30 because Denmark is cold. Denmark is cold, hence my jumper, which you would hardly ever see me in. And we are coming into winter very soon, so I'm going to let that dribble out a bit more. I must have put a little bit too much in there. But yeah, oil quality definitely looks quite well used for 3 hours. I assume that's because it's first 3 hours, so you're going to get a lot of initial wear and tear. But yeah, whilst that gearbox oil is dribbling out, we're going to get something here which I prepared earlier, my air filter. What I've noticed with this bike compared to my FEs is how easy it is to access the air filter. It comes off a lot easier than my last bikes. And we're going to pull this little pin here, and it's going to pop out that way, and that is 3 hours worth of riding. We're going to pull that off. We're going to put a little bit of grease around the seal as well. It's always good practice. I think the air filter is always good to be safe than sorry. Rather have too much than not enough, and have sand be pulled through. I do a lot of sand here in Denmark, being this beachy coastal place. Coastal country, you might say. But yeah, nicely prepared, a bit of grease in there, oiled all the way around. Slide that big girl home in correct fashion. Unknown amount of Newton meters, so we're just going to go click, Click. Okay, let's reinstate this Achirby's cover. So much easier than the previous ones I've had on the FEs. Had those big nylon ones, and they're just an absolute mission. They make a service 10 times harder than it needs to be. Click, click. Cover is on, cover is solid. And these gearbox oils get checked on a cold gearbox. Click, click, click. Not a warm one. So I just double check that oil level then, everything is all good. Started to see the oil coming out as the bike was level. So yeah, there we have, it's very simple little oil change and filter change. There is a oil filter screen up in there for the throttle body. I understand it only needs to be done every 60 hours, so I'm not going to look into that. It's also very hard to get to. You need to remove the tank and everything like that. But yeah, everything looks good. I'm going to run my eyes over everything, but everything is tickety-boo from my house. Something I do want to get for this bike is some little shocky socks or seal savers, whatever you want to call them. They're going to slide over here and cut all the shocky just to stop grime and dirt getting into the seals. Just a bit of longevity, I suppose. But yeah, guys, hope you enjoyed this video of my Heritage 2025 Husqvarna TE300. I love this bike. Has its cons, but I've got the big XR for long bloody enduros and long adventures. This is more the screamer, the toy, and yeah, frothing it, guys. Cheers. I hope you enjoyed this video.